Welcome to the herd. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We're actually a good sports talk show over here. Anyway,
Hey,
anyway, joining me as always, we're talking Browns off season. You know what it is. Say what's up to the people, Cam.
yo, what's up, everybody? Hey, man, this show is gonna be exciting, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, and before we get into it, I just want to say I hope you guys like I know I'm trying to put out as soon as signings go down, I'm trying to get videos out ASAP. Even if they're short, I just want to try to get them out because I know a lot of people as soon as stuff comes out, they're like, "Oh, I don't know who this is." Yeah. So I'm trying to get them out ASAP. I've been a little bit disappointed with some of the bigger Browns content makers, I guess you could say. And I'm not singling out anybody, but if you're one of the biggest or the biggest and you get this is your job to talk about the Browns, I feel like you should be doing the same, you know. So I mean, I'm not you get what I'm saying. It's just a little annoying. So I try to get stuff out as soon as possible for y'all. But and actually, I forget what signing it was. It was the Mckinley signing. And we'll talk about that later. But when that news broke, I was in the bathroom and I had to literally like run to the other end because I didn't have a service to record. So, not that y'all care, but I thought it was a funny story. But anyway, so let's just jump and dive right into what we're here to talk about tonight.
Yes, sir.
And
Let's
by
get it.
by the way, this is going to be I completely butchered the intro, but anyway, this is under the Dog Pound Pod just because I feel like we're gonna go longer tonight. The video me and Cam did on day one was basically just kind of a recap. This we're gonna actually talk about everything, how it affects the Browns. We're just gonna get into it. So Cam, we're now on what is it, day three of free agency? Day whatever, 3 or 4.
Yeah, free agency started Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday at noon.
So,
So
yeah,
4.
kind of like, yeah, basically kind of four.
So we've talked a little bit since then, but we haven't talked like on this. So obviously, we know the signings. Just give me first of all, just give me your general opinion of how free agency's gone so far with the Browns.
Well, it started off a little confusing to me a little because I wasn't sure why we weren't making moves at some of these better free agents that were out here, but Andrew Berry has a plan, so and Berry we trust. But I'm really loving the Troy Hill move and the John Johnson move. And with that defense man we signed from Atlanta, I mean, we'll see what he's about. I mean, he really didn't do a lot in Atlanta, but let's see if we can coach him up and get him to perform here. Maybe needed to change the scenery, so let's hope for the best.
Yeah, so let's just do a quick recap for people who, for whatever reason, don't know. The Browns so far have signed John Johnson, the third safety out of the Rams. Troy Hill, who we'll talk about later, corner out of the Rams, which there's not a trust me, there's a reason why they've got both of those guys, and we'll talk about
Oh
that
yeah,
later.
without a
Tack
doubt.
Tack McKinley, defensive end, you were just talking about out of Atlanta. And I'm counting Andrew Billings because he didn't play. So I'm going to add
I
that to
totally
this
forgot
year's.
about Billings.
Yep, I'm going to add that to this year. Curtis Weaver, you can also add because he was a free agent pickup. The Browns then re-signed Rashard Higgins and re-signed Malcolm Smith. Now, there's going to be more to come, obviously. And if any news breaks while we are recording this, obviously we'll talk about it. But so far out of this list of guys, do you think do you think that John Johnson was do you think they valued him over a defensive end? Because this is the discussion a lot of people are having.
I feel like they're gonna go D in the draft, so I don't think they really wanted to not necessarily get one in free agency, but I don't think they're too thirsty to try to bring somebody in or a high price free agent or one of those sexy names out there. So I'm thinking they'll probably address that issue in the draft.
Yeah, so I agree with you completely. So they first move, and I agree with what you said at the start. It was kind of confusing and slow. I thought we would be one of the first teams announced for a signing,
Yeah,
honestly,
definitely.
which kind of surprised me because if you remember last year, I mean, it was right out of the bat, Austin Hooper and
Yeah.
then Jack Conklin.
Shots fired, man.
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised. But nevertheless, the first signing the Browns make, John Johnson. Take me through, what did you think about the signing? And now that it's been a while, how big of an impact do you think he'll have on the Browns?
John Johnson.
Yep.
I think he'll have a great impact, especially with him being versatile, being able to play a little bit of corner, put him in the box a little, and let him roam a little. So I think his athleticism in that secondary will help us a lot compared to what we had last year. And pairing him with a group of guys like Ronnie Harrison, Denzel Ward, and also with Grant Delpit coming back, and it help. And again, it'll just give Delpit an easy, smooth transition to that nickel safety role that I think he will really excel at this year.
I think that this signing completely changed the trajectory of the Browns defense, because last year, I mean, it was bad. And it's not like
Yeah,
we
and you
make
got to remember, Joe Woods wants to run that three safety package. So these are more toys for Joe Woods to run his defense that he wants.
yeah, this was
That wasn't
definitely
the
a
that wasn't the real Joe Woods defense last year.
no. Yeah, and I think we're starting to see that more. And like I was saying, we love to hate on Andrew Sandejo and whatnot, but
Yeah, I mean
reality
it
is,
is kind of fun yelling, being mad at Anderson Dale though.
and
It was a little fun.
it's not an excuse, like, he did flat out suck, and he
Yeah, no
will
doubt about
always
it.
have sucked.
Yeah,
But
I don't think he came into that season. I don't think he came into that season thinking he was going to get as much playtime as he
no,
got.
no, no. No, and that's the thing, that's what I was getting at. We can poke fun at him, but reality is, because people, including myself, I will put this out there, I thought this. I'm not saying they should have done it, but if they would have fired Joe Woods, I would have understood why. And I'm not saying they should have, but I'm saying
Oh
I
yeah,
was
totally.
I was somebody who thought this is a real possibility, and I don't know if I'll be super mad if they did.
Oh
Um,
yeah, same thing. I was calling for his head too.
yeah, but they bring him back, and now you're seeing the pieces come together how he wants to run his defense. So, starting off with John Johnson the third, I think exactly what you said. He is so versatile. He you can almost play him in every role. The Rams used him as a Mike linebacker at times.
Wow, did not know that at all.
Yeah, if you go back and you watch the film, I forget where it was. I think it's the All Eyes on Cleveland YouTube channel. And I have no problem promoting people I like. So if you listen to this and you go, "Wow, man, normally people don't," I don't care. Like, I'm encouraging you to go check out good Browns conversation. Like, I really don't care about that stuff. But anyway,
Yeah, no doubt about it.
he had somebody on um from, I believe they covered. Oh, I know who it was. It was a player. I think he was a running back, or no, his co-host was a running back. But anyway, long story short, he covers the Rams. And he was talking about this signing, and cuz he was talking about linebacker, and obviously we know our linebackers were a problem.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he said, for Browns fans, one thing you should know about uh John Johnson, you can play him at free safety. You can play him at strong safety. You can play him in the box and put him at a tight end or something like that. Or he can creep down and play that Mike linebacker on some roles. If the Browns want to play like a 4-1-5, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
something, 4-2-5, whatever. So he can do it all. And I loved exactly what you said. The reason why they signed him and they gave him this money, and by the way, he took less money to come to Cleveland. And I know we talked about that on the video me and you did. Um, but I mean, just thinking about that shows you the difference that this Browns team is at. just in the last few years, that you have somebody who is at this caliber taking less because he wants to come to Cleveland. So just think about that.
Yeah, and
That's
definitely you could look at the Higgins situation like that too.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I think what you said about bringing back Delpit, to me, this is the key because now what you have is, let's just say Grant Delpit can't play for the first 2 or 3 games, right? You don't have to
Yeah,
worry about it. Now you have John Johnson, who you can throw at free safety, and you don't have to run that three safety defense yet. You can kind of
yeah, you
ease
can save
into it.
that. Yeah,
So, and what you talked about with the I guess rover safety is the right way to say it, where you just kind of play everywhere. It's going to be
yeah,
interesting to me how they handle that. Because if you remember Grant Delpit, he pretty much played everywhere just like Johnson did. If you go back and watch his LSU tape, he's coming off the edge a lot of times. He's covering tight ends a lot of times, and he's also a ball hawk in the secondary. So I think you have two guys now who can do everything, which I'm telling you, I said it and by the way, me and Cam are going to talk to the Cleveland Pulse podcast guys at some point next week. Um, so you can look forward to that. But I said on there, I mean, when you have safeties that can do it all, it just frees up so much more. You can bring linebackers on a blitz. You can, it it
yeah,
it, it
man.
allows you to do so much.
You can
So
do so much more disguising as well too.
yeah, and I blanked out, but what I meant to say is what I said on their podcast was, if Delpit, this was before we signed Johnson, if we can get somebody that can help Delpit, and at the time I said Trey Boston, but help Delpit kind of ease back into it and then be able to just play wherever, he's going to be a Pro Bowler in his first year. He is that talented. You agree with that? Do you think
Yeah,
that's
oh, definitely. Without a doubt.
so? This signing is incredible. And by the way, great dude. John Johnson is a great dude. Learning a little bit more about him as a person and what he meant to the Rams team. He was a captain. He was a captain. Like, that's not, you don't get these elite teams captains, in free
No,
agency.
never, no, it's rare.
Rare, very rare, if ever. So this is, some fans might look at this as, oh, we got a good safety. No, we got somebody special, really special. So John Johnson, great signing. I think we've said our piece about that. Moving on to the second free agent that we signed, and this is the more controversial one, I think I would say, or at least that I've talked with people about, and that's Mckinley out of Atlanta. Now, he did bounce around on the waivers, but that's for a completely different reason. But take me through, what did you think about the signing, um, and how do you see his role on the Browns?
Um, I think it was a kind of take a chance signing because I mean, really didn't do all that in Atlanta, but I think I think we gave him a 1 year deal if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
So
One
yeah,
year,
this would
4 million.
be a good little deal for him to kind of prove himself, see what he can do, make a name for himself. Then, and if he's that guy, I mean, we'll see if we resign him next year. So I think this is kind of a year for him to try to really show that he's grown as a player and has matured as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of people are mad because, if they would have signed him like today, after the fact, like not early, I think people would be more like open to it. But I just feel like people are acting like McKinley is their plan long term. This is not this is not their guy. Like, they're bringing him in for a specific role. And you got to look at it from this perspective. They cut Adrian Claiborne and they give McKinley 1 million more than they were giving Claiborne. So this is your Adrian Claiborne replacement. Now, Takk McKinley was a first-round pick in 2017. He's a great pass rusher. The story with him is he showed a lot of flashes. His first 2 years were pretty good, but he's dealt with injuries. He had some problems with the coaching staff. Now, he did go through waivers, and this is why the Browns were so interested because they tried to get him multiple times. And he was picked up by the Bengals, if you'll remember, but he failed his what do you call that? Not fitness test, but you know what I'm talking about. Physical.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
physical. Yeah,
Physical. So I don't know what that's all about. My guess would be that it's because of the injury is why he failed his physical. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. But the Browns are bringing him in to be a pass rusher, which he can do. I think he just needs to be in the right system. And another thing that people aren't talking about with him, he's never played opposite of an elite defensive end. Every time he's played, it's been just him. So we know how it is with Miles getting double teamed and getting a lot of the attention, you know? So,
of
I
course.
mean, for him, now that he can play opposite of Miles in a pass rusher role, he's not going to be on the field every down.
No.
So, I mean, at 1 year for 4 million, it's a win-win. Boom or bust. You bring him in, see what you got. If you like him, you sign him long term. So people are mad because it's not, a Carl Lawson, and we'll talk about that more. But I think overall, this is a good signing. I think it's just because of how early it was, people are disappointed. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting. I think it's going to be fun to see what he does because you have so many people that really don't know a lot about him. So I think that's one of the most interesting things. Um, so getting into the next here, um, so it was John Johnson and Takk McKinley, and then it was Rashard Higgins resigning. Or no, it was Malcolm Smith resigning. What do
Yeah,
you think
Michael
about
Smith.
Malcolm Smith coming back?
Um, I really too much don't care for that signing. I would rather like to see BJ Goodson come back, but I'm not in control of any of that. So yeah, that's my thing on that.
Yeah, I mean, I liked BJ Goodson. I liked Malcolm Smith a little bit better because I think Jacob Phillips can fill BJ Goodson's role. You know what I'm saying? So, as much as I like Goodson, I mean, I think he was expendable. Like they didn't have to bring him back. I think Malcolm Smith role is a little bit different. And I think having a veteran Super Bowl MVP played on a lot of good teams, I think it was valuable to bring him back. He's coming back on a 1-year deal, I believe like 2 million or something like that. So I'm happy with him coming back. Now the Browns had I can't even remember. I think his name is Anthony Walker, if I remember correctly. The Colts linebacker visiting today, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, that was
I
his
like
role.
him. I like what I see, so I hope we sign him. Do you have anything you want to say about him? Do you know anything about him?
I really don't too much know about Anthony Walker, so I'm just gonna have to watch some film and watch some highlights. See what's up.
Yeah, I didn't either at first. Um, but after I looked into him, I think it would be I like it. I think it'd be a good fit. So, yeah, guys, if everybody watching, it's worth to go check it out, check some of his tape out. Because I do think there is a chance we sign him. So, anyway, after that, Rashard Higgins resigns. This was the big news of last night. Um, I guess how happy are you that he's back?
I'm very happy. I didn't want to lose Higgins, and I can't wait to see him.
This was, you know what this was kind of like? This is like one of your closest friends saying, "Hey, my dad's looking for a new job. We might have to move." And then finding out that he gets a job and he's staying. It's like, thought I was going to lose you,
Yeah, definitely.
but
That's
you're
a great
back.
analogy.
So I'm happy. I mean, I know there's not a lot to say with this signing, re-signing. Obviously we all love him. Hollywood Higgins, I hope is a Brown forever. Um, we won't talk about Curtis Weaver and Andrew Billings because that's not new. We've known that. Troy Hill. This was, if y'all haven't seen my reaction, I think it's worth it's worth checking out. I was laying down on my phone. This came across and I jumped up out of bed. I was so happy because I identified Troy Hill as a guy that I thought it would cost a lot more money, and but he would be a good option to bring in. And the Browns signed him to a 4-year deal, I believe at $6 million per year. Um, yeah, it was 4 years, 24. So it's at $6 million per year. That is unbelievable. I couldn't love this anymore. What do you think about this signing?
I think it's a very underrated signing, but it's such a great signing at the same time. I'm liking it.
Yeah, and the thing that I like about it is I don't know if you've seen Jalen Ramsey has been just, I don't know what the right word is. Not loving necessarily, but just giving Andrew Berry so much like attention about how good these signings are, because the Rams, they wanted to build their entire defense around Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and John Johnson III. And that's not from me since we signed him. That was their plan. And I heard that Jalen Ramsey, and I can't remember where I heard this, so I guess you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Jalen Ramsey gave Troy Hill very high praise. He said played with a lot of guys. A lot of times you can't really count on that second corner to do their job. When you're
Yeah,
an elite player like that and you have to worry about the other guy, that sucks. And for him, he said playing with him was just so fun because Jalen didn't have to worry about that. He could just be a stud like he is. And I think for Browns fans, you got to look at this as Denzel Ward is the Jalen Ramsey in this scenario. And
yep.
he's going to come in and he's going to be a good second corner. He's going to be a beast because just like with Jalen Ramsey, Denzel Ward won't have to worry about him. And Troy Hill can play that nickel corner too. So, not saying he will. I expect him to play more outside. We'll see. But this is perfect because now you have a great number 2 corner and you don't have to worry about Greedy Williams. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to bet that Greedy's going to be 100% healthy. You know what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
So he's going to come in. Well, Greedy's now going to be the number 3, but I think there is a chance Greedy plays a lot. I don't think the Browns are done at corner. I look for them to add corner in the draft, probably second or third round. Like I said, linebacker, that Colts linebacker, I'm expecting to sign. I also like Quan Alexander, who is
Yeah.
still
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. We'll see. Um, Defensive end, there are still good defensive ends.
Melvin Ingram still out there?
Melvin Ingram, Carlos Dunlap. I know a lot of people are down on him, but Jadeveon Clowney still out there, and Justin Houston. That's the guy. I think the Browns maybe might look to bring in one of those guys on a 1-year or 2-year cheap deal and then draft a guy at 26. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Who do you want out of that group?
Mm, I would take Dunlap.
Dunlap.
Wouldn't mind Dunlap.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I think Jadeveon
And then so
Clowney.
much motivation for guys that get on a team that has a chance to go to a Super Bowl. Like that's just could bring something extra out of somebody.
Well, look at Dunlap when he went to Seattle. He completely changed their defense.
Yeah, you
I
get on a
mean,
winning team and your attitude changes.
so I think if the Browns bring him in, draft somebody, and just kind of bring that draft player around like slowly, um, and that's what we'll talk about next is some of those possibilities there. Um, but I think Dunlap to me is the perfect guy that you can count on as a number two, but you can also have a good rotation behind him. Um, what's your thoughts on if I told you they brought in Jadeveon Clowney, what would you say?
I kind of be surprised, but I wouldn't at the same time.
Are you do you have any grudges about him not coming to Cleveland last year when we offered him the most?
I mean a little, but then at the end of the day, I'm trying to win a football game, so I really don't care.
I think the same. I think it'd be good. I just don't know what number you would have to get him at because he honestly with him, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't sign with a team at all this year, you know, and just rehabs and trains for next year when the cap is up, you know. I just
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I don't know, but I agree. I'd look to bring in Dunlap and then probably draft somebody, but so let's talk about the draft. So now free agency, we're now getting into the second and third waves of the guys that are going to come in on cheap deals, 1 year deals. I don't expect the Browns to sign any other big name guy unless it is like a Dunlap, like we talked about. Um, at 26, where do you think they go? Do you think they take linebacker and what are you thinking at 26?
Thinking more of DN.
You got any names that you're
I
high
really don't
on?
have any, I don't have any names, but I feel like if they do get a linebacker to be in the later rounds,
Yeah. And there's good linebackers too. Like I know we're both Buckeye fans. If they can I mean, if they get like Baron Browning, third round, second round, late, I don't even know where he would go, but you know what I'm saying? If they could do that, that'd be solid.
yeah, and I
Okay.
wouldn't even mind Werner either, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I think Warner might need I think Browning would adjust to the NFL game quicker. I just
Yeah,
I
I just
just
I like the way I like Warner's tackling and blitzing ability.
yeah. And Warner can play pretty much any
He can
linebacker you
cover,
can.
yeah, he can cover as well too.
Yeah, and he's kind of an all-around guy, but I just think the Browns I don't know, it's interesting because remember I told you, that guy I know, and he said don't expect a linebacker. With them addressing safety, I think you can cross that off. Them addressing corner, I'm not saying you can cross it off, but it's certainly less likely. I think unless a guy that they really love falls there, I think you can cross it off. Defensive end, I don't think they're done yet there, so I don't think we have a definitive answer on that. That's an option, and I think linebacker's an option. I
Yeah,
think linebackers in play.
and look for them to address the kicker problem too.
Oh, that's right. They didn't bring back Cody Parkey, did they?
I don't think so.
Oh. I saw. Did you see Zane Gonzalez got released?
No.
Yeah, you remember when he was here, right? We drafted him and then he got hurt,
Yeah,
didn't tell
he
anybody.
cost us like 4 games.
Yeah, I saw people saying he should come back. I don't know. I mean,
When Parky came back, so I mean, anything can happen.
yeah, I mean it'd be worth a shot, but I don't know. I'm almost willing to just let the Scottish Hammer out there kick some field goals. I mean, the man can kick, punt 90 yards, probably can kick too.
Yeah, true that.
But so, last thing I kind of wanted to talk about today is now that we have a general idea of how things are shaping up, do you think that they could trade up in the draft from 26
I think no, I'm not even gonna lie. I think that's why we kept Njoku.
as a trade piece, or what do you mean?
Trade bait for the draft.
It makes sense. Because were you expecting him to get traded?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Because, see, yeah, I really expected him because at the 4 o'clock deadline, his guaranteed money kicked in. Now, I don't think if the Browns traded him, I don't think that Browns would have to pay that. It'd be his new team. So he is tradable. I mean, if that's true, I don't know if that's true, but I think you could be right. I thought the Patriots would be an option for David, but
They
they,
just signed 2 tight ends.
how crazy is that? The Patriots never spend money and they're just throwing
Two of the
bags
best tight ends.
everywhere. Crazy, crazy. It's such a weird off season, but who knows? I think the Browns. I really do look for them to trade up. I don't know if Njoku is gonna be traded with that, but I get what you're saying there. I think that the Browns, if they can add another corner in free agency, add if they wanted to add another defensive end, more of what do you think about Alden Smith?
I wouldn't be opposed to Alden Smith.
Because, see, I thought about that. I thought about maybe, with the guys they've already signed, what if they go out and bring in Alden Smith for a year and draft a guy? You know what I'm saying? Because I think Dunlap might look for more than a year unless he's, just wants a year to prove himself. I think if you brought in Alden Smith, to me, he's a veteran guy who came back this year. I thought was really good. You remember in the Browns game, that OBJ play where OBJ took the sweep or whatever to the house. Alden Smith almost had him 20 yards back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he could have really cost the Browns some trouble, but I think that would be an interesting signing. I'm not saying they'll do it, but I could see that with an Alden Smith or a Justin Houston, them going out and getting that. But yeah, I think with the draft, I think the Browns could trade up and take a Gregory Rousseau, Kwity Paye, somebody like that. What do you think about? Do you know anything about Jalen Phillips? Have you heard his name at all?
Not. I really don't know much about Jalen Phillips. To tell you the truth.
So he's just an interesting situation. I people say because like I heard before free agency, like people were saying Bud Dupree's fool's gold. Jalen Phillips went to UCLA, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, was a pretty highly recruited prospect. He retired from football because of medical reasons. And he comes back and transfers to Miami and plays, and he's good. Like, he's a great player. But I heard people talking about, I don't know if it was a doctor or somebody or the doctors told him he's a guy that if he gets another concussion or two, he's done. Like his career is over. So I'm really hoping the Browns don't get him because you don't want to. I don't want to say waste because it's not his fault that he has medical issues, but that's just such a big risk. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. Do you think that's a big problem? Like his history with him retiring?
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I just feel like maybe because, in college you're not getting paid or you're not supposed to be getting paid. There are guys that do get paid, but you know, maybe if he goes to the NFL and, he plays good or whatever, maybe that'll change, but I don't know. I would rather them take a Rousseau or a Quiddy Pay, guys like that you know more about. Have you watched any of Aziz Al-Jawari out of Georgia?
Um, I haven't.
He's If the Browns stay at 26, I think he might be the pick. Um, if I'm not mistaken, he played outside linebacker, but he didn't play linebacker. You know what I mean? Like TJ Watt's a defensive end, but his name is linebacker. Um, but anyway, he's a guy who he his technique is a lot like Myles Garrett. He's got a great first
Yeah.
step, comes off the edge at an angle. I don't know. I think that's a name maybe pay attention to, but I don't know. We'll see. I just think the next few days going into next week, even, I think the markets of a lot of these players are going to go down so much that the Browns and other good, contender teams are going to be able to snag up for a dirt cheap. So it's going to be interesting, but anyway, wrapping up, where do you think Kenny Gallaudet goes?
I that's a tough question. I don't know. I don't know myself.
I was shocked because I thought he would be an early day one pickup. Early day one. And the fact that he's still on the board is kind of crazy, but I don't know. I'd like to see him go to the Giants. Looks like Juju's going to go to the Jets. So it is what it is. But anyway, so like I said, you guys can expect videos out shortly after signings are made. Um, we haven't had any new signings since we've started this, so I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Um, yeah. So, like I said, next week we're going to do a joint podcast with those guys, so you can expect that. Um, so yeah, stay tuned for that and more. Hopefully, Browns free agency news. Like I said, like you said, Cam, I think we both agree Andrew Berry's killing it. Don't get frustrated. Just trust him. He knows what he's doing. He's being smart about it. He'll get the job done. So, anyway, as usual, let the people know where they can find you on social.
Definitely, definitely. You can find me on Instagram at Cam Chasen with two N's. You can find me on Twitter at Cameron Crawford, and you can find me on my Browns page at Browns Nation.
Yes, sir. And I'll be sure to tag him as always. Um,
Yes, sir.
I try not to forget, but yep. So anyway, like I said, stay tuned for more Browns news. That's it for us. Let us know your
Sure.
thoughts. Go give Cam a follow. Give us a subscribe here. Let us know your thoughts. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.
We'll see you when we see you.